Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Jack's Business Talk. Today we have a special guest, Frank, Old Guy REI.
It's great to be back with you. Thanks for the invitation.
Oh, you're always welcome, Dawn. So today we're going to talk about a few different things that all kind of correlate together. So I've mentioned on this channel a few different times about how I'm going to start up the landscaping business, and I asked Frank to come on to give me more suggestions on kind of a little bit on different things I should think about besides just mowing grass and that kind of stuff.
Were you actually thinking of um, doing work on homes like handyman type things or just the landscaping?
I was thinking about doing smaller projects. I don't want anything that's going to take overly long, like maybe small drywall patches, as long as it's not a textured ceiling or textured. I don't want to get into textured patterns and stuff. Um, I was tossing around the idea of painting, but I don't know how feasible or not that would be with the time constraints of, the W-2 job and stuff.
And you're going to do them for other clients on their homes, not just on your properties, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Sometimes you can find, some people are really cool with you coming in and out as you can, if they're not in a rush to get the project finished or things like that. One of the challenges I would think would be if the room has a lot of furniture or anything in it, moving
Mhm.
that stuff around by yourself, not scratching floors and things like that. It could be pretty time consuming and even a little difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking
Yeah.
about painting, or I was thinking about doing pressure washings and doing like minor deck repairs. And I was actually thinking the deck repairs might be more profitable, but the painting would last all year.
Yeah. I think pressure washing is pretty lucrative. I think doing deck work and things like that, I don't do too much of that anymore, but um, I think there's probably going to be a little bit of difference in pricing, right? So what you would charge, say, if you're charging by the hour to paint versus doing something like deck work, they're probably would charge a little bit more for the deck work.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, we do a little bit of everything. The only thing I don't really mess around with is roofs. Painting is my favorite. So out of all the things we do, I love to paint. It's pretty relaxing for me.
I've always liked painting. I I always paint all my rentals and stuff. Real briefly a long time ago, but I don't know if I was still in high school or in college, but I was working for a painting company for a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's probably my favorite because it it makes changes really, really quickly, right? You go in and
Mhm.
paint a room or paint an interior of a house and it's an instant change. The other things take so long. Tile work is probably one of my least favorites, but um, over the years we've done quite a bit of tile work and plumbing and electrical. You can't really that doesn't really beautify anything. It just, updates it.
Mhm. I think the thing that's always kind of annoyed me, at least in my renovation projects, is you get to, and I don't know, someone was talking about this in the ORAAT community. It might have been you, it might have been someone else, I can't remember. But you get to like where all the big stuff's done and all the visual stuff is done, and they were talking about, the customer want to come in and look at the work once a week and stuff. And you're at the end, so it's like you put in 8 hours and it doesn't really look all that much different than when you did to start with. And I was like, oh, I'm so familiar with that because I know with my projects, I'd spend all night working on the project, and I would look around at the end and be like, it looks like I've done nothing.
Yeah, demolition that makes a huge difference, and people think Well, this went so fast, the whole project's going to go that fast. But once you start putting it back together, it's a bit more time consuming. And I try to, like I've said before, I try to prepare my customers for that. I think the first couple days are going to look like we're tearing it up, and then after that, it's going to get kind of slow. So,
I think that was when I was doing trim work. It just that's another thing I actually enjoy doing is trim work.
yeah, when you do trim work like baseboards and door casings and trimming out windows and stuff, a lot of times now we're using MDF. It's a little bit less expensive than real wood, um, but the finish looks the same. You know.
Mhm. What do you use in order to like help hide the cracks and stuff in your
In the woodwork.
yeah.
Yeah, when we're doing trim work and stuff, there's a few new things out on the market, but um, we really try to, make all of our cuts really nice and make our joints tight and things like that. Put a little bit of glue before we join things together. But most of the time on stuff like that, filling nail holes and caulking, we're using just lightweight interior, exterior spackle. It's kind of like the little foamy stuff, and that doesn't shrink too much. It's easy to sand. And if the joints need a little bit of caulk, we'll just use regular painter's caulking to get those ready for paint, and then try to do a nice quick little sanding before we paint.
Okay.
Yeah, we do most of our painting by hand. I don't really spray anything anymore. It seems like by the time you finish cleaning out your spray equipment or setting it up, you could be done painting a bedroom or something. Or if you're doing a whole house, we've even done them. We usually do them by hand as well.
See, something I was telling the one guy that helps me out from time to time. I bought the paint guns and stuff, and because of one place that we had where it had 12-foot high ceilings, and the projects just seemed like it took forever. I was telling him, I was like, "Oh, I bought a paint gun in case we ever run into this again," because we were painting the entire thing. And then I bought it, and now we haven't used it
Mm.
because we kind of got to the point where, like I was telling him, it's like a lot of times, you know, after I have a cup of coffee and stuff, I can do like the first 3 or 4 hours of working on doing painting and stuff. I can do with edging work without have to tape off every little stinking thing. And I was like, so I just jump up on a ladder, and that's usually what I start with is doing edging. And it's like I save so much time by not having to put all that tape up. But I was like, there's no way you get around it if you're using a gun. Like you have to tape and put up all this stuff. It's like so all that time I just saved by doing that is just out the door.
Yeah, I agree. Um, it's been probably a few years since we've sprayed anything, but most of our stuff is, like you said, cut in by hand and everything like that. I don't use much blue tape.
Hmm. I
Yeah.
like doing it
Well,
that way.
when the guys were talking about,
Sorry, go ahead.
go ahead. Oh, I was just going to say, I'll even cheat a little bit. Do you ever use a shoreline to cut in?
Yeah,
Hmm. I like those
yeah,
a lot.
I like those.
Yeah. A lot of people laugh at that, but I'll use whatever tools I need to use to make the job come out as perfect as possible. And I usually use the shorelines on when we're doing baseboards because um, they'll roll right on a nice hardwood floor, everything, and you don't have to worry about taping the floor off. And then on the edges of door casings and stuff, they come in real handy because that takes me some time to cut a line on an edge of a door casing. But the
Hmm.
shorelines go up and down it so quick, and then you just paint the face, and it comes out pretty cool.
Yeah, I like those and those what do you call those like long like 6-foot edger things.
Hmm.
I like those, especially when you're down near the carpet. I'll wedge it in and like pull the carpeting back.
Yeah, back when I started out, the guy who was teaching me how to paint, we used to mask all that off, putting the masking tape down there and pulling the carpet back and tucking the tape under the base and all that stuff. Took some time and it wore out your fingers for sure.
Yeah, I'll have to think about it. I'm kind of torn between doing the pressure washing and decks and the paint. But the paint, like we said, can go all year. So I don't know. There's pros and cons.
Yeah, I think the more interior stuff you can do, the better because that really carries us the whole year,
Uh-huh.
interior remodeling. We don't really have any downtime. And because all of our projects are inside, and if the homes are occupied, the heat's on and everything like that. So the only challenges we've had sometimes is when the property's vacant and in the middle of winter, even here for us, 35 to 40 degrees is pretty cold. So it's nice to have a working furnace so your paint dries and your primer dries and things like that. Otherwise, it won't dry. Even in 24 hours, we'll come back and the walls are still kind of damp, so you can't continue and put a finish coat on.
Uh-huh. So to switch topics a little bit, you're talking about switching property management companies. And I personally realized with going through this eviction just how bad my organization is. So I've been thinking about switching to a property management company. What are some things that you look for when you're searching out a new property management company?
Yeah, we've switched property managers on our very first property, and I think, we've talked before about the reason. And in that market, the property manager was like 45 minutes away from our property, and they didn't go to our property very often. They would wait until they had a few different properties or things to go check out, and then they would go. And that didn't work. So we got lucky and found a really great property manager in St. Joseph, Missouri, and by chance, I had started filling out some questionnaires online looking for new companies, and he just happened to see it and he reached out to me, and um, we've been together ever since. We've been with him for 3 years now, and then most recently, about 6 months ago, we had to change property management companies in Milwaukee. Um, Things that were going on with that one were lack of communication is a big issue. And so we've in our group, so when you're with us on Wednesday nights and stuff, on our accountability calls, we talk about that and communication being the biggest thing. If you can reach your property manager, if they'll respond to you quickly, if you have a question or a concern. Um, we had issues with the expense because it seemed like every time they had to do a repair or something, it was way more expensive than it should have been. And we realized that was true after we switched to the new company. And we got the new company from a referral from another investor in that market. So that's what I would say first is reach out to other investors in the area that you're in and ask them who's managing for them and how happy they are. It seems like, we have some other friends in the group that some of them have two property management companies and they're thinking if they should switch or not. But on the one side, one company does half the stuff the way you like it, and the other company does the other half the way you like it. So it is a challenge to find someone that'll do 100% of things the way you want them done. But we have five different managers because we're in a few different markets. And right now we're happy with them all. A couple of them use AppFolio for the management software, looking up invoices and receipts and leases and things like that are fairly easy. Um, One uses Buildium. The one in Milwaukee is Smart Asset Realty, so they have their own owner portal, and they're similar to AppFolio, but not AppFolio itself. And then the one property we have in Illinois, she's switching. I wasn't happy with the owner portal there or the software there, and she just decided to switch. She let me know a few weeks ago. So hopefully the new one will be easier to get information without having to call her and bug her. But she does get back to me pretty quickly.
Okay.
Yeah. So unfortunately, well, hopefully you'll be able to find other investors and get some referrals, and then you'll be able to maybe if you have to try a couple out. But a lot of people in the group have told me not to wait too long to fire a property manager if you're not happy because it just ends up costing you a lot more than it should if you try to give them chances and things like that too far down the road.
Yeah, I want to kind of get what I have going on stabilized. But I'm thinking probably before the end of next year, I'm probably going to end up trying to have a property management company come in and kind of manage things. And I was always listening to Cynthia, who was saying, "Well, once you get them stabilized, she was like, you don't get any phone calls and stuff." I was like, "It's like," and now I'm going back to remembering why 2 years ago I wanted a property management company is because they control the paperwork. A lot of stuff with the attorney I've been having, it would just been a phone call instead of me digging through my computer for hours trying to find something. All would have been right there, ready to go, and I probably would have had it within a day without all the stress tied with it.
Yeah, and we found that the cost for evictions is different, by location or by property manager because in Milwaukee with the PM that we ended up leaving, they were charging $1,500 for an eviction. And the new company, we had two evictions in the last, I would say 30 to 45 days, and they were $480 with the new property management company. And that's everything.
I know when I was looking at it before, there was one company that what was it? I think it was like 450 or 1500 is one of those two. I know that's a huge gap. I think it's a 1500 if you place the tenant or it was a inherited tenant
Hmm.
to do an eviction. But if they placed a tenant and had to do an eviction, it was free.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I kind of thought that was nice. But what I didn't like was they didn't specify their deal or how they charged you and everything was up in the air. And kind of what the deal breaker was in the whole scenario was the fact that when they came in to take the pictures and stuff, because I have a little bit of experience with photography, like I don't expect people to be perfect for these photos, not by any means, but like they didn't understand angles, they didn't understand, bringing in a higher quality camera than just using your iPhone. Their finger was in three of the pictures. I was like, no, I was like, I can't deal with this. Like
Yeah.
your purple nail can't be in the photo.
And you're talking about listing photos or when they do the move in or move out photos.
Those were the listing photos.
Oh, yeah, that's not good.
No, but yeah. So the problem for me is there's just not a lot of property management companies up in this area.
Mm.
Well, like because I'm like half hour to 45 minutes north, depending on which property you're talking about, north of the city. There's just not a whole lot out here, and that's kind of why I've been managing for so long by myself. And I'm hoping maybe this go around, maybe some things have changed, but I don't know. I was kind of thinking about years ago when I first started this investing real estate project that is probably going to end up leading into a property management company because at some point I kind of feel like I'm more or less going to have to try and do the whole thing myself. But the thing about PA is, and this is kind of why I don't want to do a property management company, is you have to have a brokerage license. And it was like I don't mind getting a real estate license by any means because I was already part of the game plan, but I didn't want to have to pursue a brokerage license on top of everything else.
Yeah.
unless I got my real estate license and found a broker that was willing to work with me on that. Like that would be something okay.
Yeah, I think, well, here in California, the realtors do need to work under a brokerage.
I'm getting to the end of my coffee. Yeah, so if I could find someone that I could work under the brokerage license, that wouldn't be too bad.
Mhm.
I just don't know if I want to go through to the point in having a brokerage license myself because for all that I'm trying to do with the real estate license and stuff, I because like I want to buy and do a little bit of flipping here and there, and I wanted to help other people like focus more on investors and be an agent on that aspect. But it was never my idea ideal goal to try and have a small brokerage with people working under me and stuff. It's like I'm already going to have the landscaping company doing that and the management company, and I'm already going to have potentially the vending machine business and other stuff that I'm already going to have employees and stuff that I have to work or be concerned about. And I didn't want to add a brokerage to it. The property management thing, I'm hoping to just have enough to where I could pay one person to kind of keep in more or less just a secretary just to kind of keep the whole thing more or less rolling.
Mhm.
And then I can just, and then me and Cynthia can just do the more, or complicated stuff.
Yeah, over the years, it's been a challenge for me to hire any extra help. My cousin actually works with me, and he's been with me for a long time. But outside of that, these days it just seems like people don't want to work. They just want to collect a paycheck for doing nothing. And also, at least as a contractor, the insurance, the workers' comp is super expensive,
Uh-huh.
things like that. So we really have to increase our prices to cover that overhead.
Yeah, that's kind of the other reason why I didn't want to have too many employees. Because honestly, with the landscaping handyman stuff, I was going to use them for like, use the business I built to do like 3 or 4 house flips a year. I'm kind of imagining a crew of 4, but that's including myself. And honestly, I'm even wondering if I need that many people. I might be able to get away with just 3 and just have, one of them being like a high school kid just to help out with like the mulch gardens, the cutting the grass type of stuff, the gopher more or less,
Mhm.
and just having two full-time people and just one part-time person.
Yeah, it's not easy. I know a few other contractors, and um, most of their stuff is if it's like framing or outside work, then they worry in the wintertime because they can't keep their guys busy. But if
Uh-huh.
you're like I said, a painter or doing interior remodels and stuff like that, then you're more likely to have work year round, and that's really carried us all these years.
Well, that's kind of why eventually, like after I'm done with W-2 and done with night shift and done with all this, goofy stuff, I want to expand it into bathrooms and kitchens because I feel like if I can paint, do bathrooms and kitchens, that's most of what your calls are going to end up being anyway. The only thing I really don't want to do is I don't want to do tile work. I tiled one project ever, and I watched some videos on how to do it, and it went smooth for the most part, but I really did not like it at all. Like the whole process, it was just misery from the beginning all the way to the end. And
Yeah,
even when I was, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say it is tough for one person to do it by themselves. When you have
Yeah.
two people, one person setting and the other person cutting, and it's a lot easier. But if you have to do all that, mixing your thin set and stuff and carrying those sacks, carrying all the tile, all that stuff, it gets old quick.
Yeah, and that's kind of my thing. And I always joke about Cynthia's Cynthia's cat, and you'll see how this relates to tile work in a second. I always joke with her about her cat. I'm just like, you're supposed to love your pet more than you hate your pet. I was like, and your cat is kind of going more on the hate side sometimes, but then he gets all cuddly and you like it again, and then it does something and you hate it again. And it's just like that's how I felt with tile work, except at the end it wasn't cute and adorable. I'm just like, no, I just really hated this.
Yeah, it's no fun. I have to say though, with all the trades, um, things have gotten a lot easier over the years. When we first started out and setting tile and stuff with regular, cross spacers, and now you got all these leveling clips and systems to help you make it nice and smooth and flat. And like I said, I'm not ashamed to use whatever I have to make it come out perfect. So it would have been nice for some of these things to come out earlier in my career. Would have saved a lot of body aches.
I like using the laser and like all the leveling clips, like you said, and it's like once you get that first, because I did the rectangle white tile. I'm not sure if it's subway tile. It's a little bit too long to be subway tile. But anyway, it's like once you get that first layer done, it's just you're off to the races,
Mhm.
and it moves fast at that point. But it's just getting that first layer done and getting up to that point. Yeah, I didn't like tile. No.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't call myself a tile setter, but I have installed quite a bit of tile.
So, you've been working on your garage project. How's that been going for you?
Oh yeah, yeah, it's coming out pretty nice. We were joking, it's going to be more comfortable than the house. Everything's brand new. It has, and originally it was just going to be a craft room for my wife, but we decided to put in a bathroom. So it has a full bathroom now, a vanity, a corner shower, and a toilet. And I have a video coming out that shows because the garage is lower than the house, so I had to get some people call it an ejector pump, some call it a sewer macerator, but it's basically a big drum with a pump inside of it, and all of our plumbing goes into it. And as the level comes up, it pumps it up to the house and goes into the sewer line for the house and into our septic tank. So that was, I had to go to YouTube and figure out how to hook that guy up, but it was pretty simple, and it cost us about $800 for the unit, but it made it possible. And, I just Googled put a bathroom anywhere, and all these different systems come up. So that was a good learning lesson.
Okay. I
Yeah.
think the
So
one the I think the one house I just bought has something like that.
mm,
I don't know why it has it, but it has it.
yeah. Now one of my clients has a two-story house, and he's been after me to put a bathroom downstairs. And now that we've used this system, we can apply it to that job too. And they make different sizes. This one that I bought is a half horse, and it will pump up toilet paper and human waste and things like that. But the next step up will grind up, if you have somebody that drops in wipes or anything like that, it'll grind it up. And that's a 1 horsepower system. And that one's probably closer to $2,500. But and this bathroom is probably not going to get used that often, probably mostly
Mhm.
um, when we have somebody visit or when Cynthia's in there for the day or whatever. So it'll work for what we need it for.
Okay, cool. So to start to wrap things up, uh, who are you excited to meet at the ORAT event?
Oh yeah, it's getting really exciting now. I think we're like 84 days away or something like that. It's been a long year, because we did get to go last year. It's been a long year waiting for the next one, but um, just like last year, we're super excited to meet like people like you for sure, and everybody that we didn't get a chance to meet last year. We have some other investors in the group from Washington, and Mikey and Mark came from Hawaii. We have friends coming from Wisconsin and Texas and all over the place. So I think I'm just as excited to meet all of you guys that I didn't get to meet yet as I am to see the speakers at the event.
I was saying something very similar. We're doing the Western PA accountability, and I forget if it was Mikey Harrison or Steven that asked me that same question, and my answer is almost identical, which, I said, it'd be great if I could meet any of the speakers. I was like, I don't know because I bought the general admission just because I can't justify at this time buying the VIP one. But I'm excited to pe meet people like you and Mikey and Mark and all these people that, I've interacted with for over a year now and haven't gotten to meet you guys in person. So I'm really excited about that part.
Yeah, it was different, right? Because, we've been talking and so we've been talking this whole year. But before on the last time we went, we had just been online with everybody maybe 4 to 5 months. And when we got together in person, it was just like we had known each other all our lives. We just had a really great time. We met a lot of people from different parts of the country that we hadn't met online yet. Um, and everybody just clicked. All the people in the community are super gracious and just good people. We kind of kid around. We haven't met anybody from the group that we don't like. So that's a good thing. That's a good sign.
Yeah, that's always a good sign whenever you find yourself around a bunch of marks.
Yeah, we even like him.
So for the
Yeah,
first
so
time,
we're super excited.
yeah, I'm super excited. I really am. I was telling Mikey for a minute, I was just like, I gotta get this done. I gotta get this done. I gotta get this done. I was like, and if I can't get this stuff done, because I was like, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to go. And Mikey had like a little meltdown. He's just like, well, he's like, well, I can help you pay for this. I can do this. I can do this. I was like, Mikey, I was like, it's all small stuff. Like, it's still like a 90% chance I'm still going. I was like, I'm planning on this week buying probably like tonight or something. I'm probably gonna try and buy the airline ticket. And after I get paid on Friday, I'm gonna book the hotel because they're already doing the the Black Friday special I saw.
Oh, okay.
I want to
Yeah,
compare.
Mikey,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I want to compare the hotel that Mikey told me to check out, and then the Golden Nugget, and see what the price difference is going to be. To see if they have any specials. And I'm probably just at that point going to go with whichever one is less expensive.
Yeah, I think that so you're going in early, right?
I'm going to go on Wednesday. I want to do the midnight at Denny's, especially since I'm off or I'm already off the Wednesday, Thursday. I have to take off the weekend to go to the event. So it doesn't really make much of a difference to me to take off an extra 6 hours Tuesday night just so I can get some sleep before get catching a flight.
Mhm. Yeah, we're going in Wednesday as well. And we're coming back home on Tuesday. So we decided to, because Valentine's Day is Friday and then the President's Day is Monday. So we thought it might be less expensive to fly on those, outside of those days.
Hmm.
And but the rooms, I think Mikey found some pretty decent pricing. I was waiting too for Black Friday to double check and make sure if we can save any money, that'd be great. Last year we stayed at the Venetian and it was pretty expensive.
I know what Mikey showed me. The reason why I'm not saying it in this video is just because I don't want to butcher it. That's why I saved it to my phone instead.
Mhm.
But I know I was looking at the hotel and it was $600 for the week. The one
Yeah,
the
that's pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Mikey was surprised I found it. I was like, "You told me about the hotel, Mikey." Like, but anyway, the one thing I didn't like was there's a spa fee for $39 a day. I was just like, and I was like, man, I was like, and they consider like the gym and like using the Wi-Fi as part of the spa package. I was like, it's really not. But uh, whatever. If it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, and it was still 600 even with that included.
It's still 600 with that included.
Oh yeah,
Now
I think that's good.
it was like closer to 800 though with the breakfast in the refrigerator. But like I told Mikey, it's just like I could just rent a car and go to like a Walmart or some grocery store nearby. I was like, I'm not above running hot water through a Keurig machine and the thing and just having instant oatmeal for breakfast every day.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess we're kind of splurging ourselves. We don't really go anywhere, Cynthia and I, so we're we're making a little mini vacation out of it.
Hmm.
And the last time we got to go anywhere was last February. So hopefully he keeps holding the February events. That's our vacation every year.
Well, Cynthia isn't coming with me this year, so for me, like I can really save a lot of money because for me, I'm used to like staying in hotels for hunting and different things like that. So it's like I don't care how ridiculous I have to be. I was joking with Mikey, but I was kind of half-heartedly being serious. It's like if there's two sinks, Mikey, one of those sinks is becoming my cooler. Just load it up with ice and drinks, and
Yeah, yeah, there you go. Yeah, that'll be
so
nice. Do you think, well, you'll be able to share your experience with her for next year? Do you think she'll go with you if you go next year?
I think she will. Um, Next year, what we're gonna do though, when she comes, is we're going to like I wanted to make this more of a trip, like an adventure type of thing. So like next year, we're only gonna fly back, and we're gonna take the train from Pittsburgh to Chicago, and then hook up to the Zephyr, which is like one of the most scenic train rides in the country. And we're gonna get off at Utah, and then we're gonna go through the Moab Desert and all that kind of stuff. And we're gonna see Matt's Off-Road Recovery, which I follow their channel and love watching their stuff. And we'll just make an entire adventure out of the whole thing. Like it'll probably take close to a week just to get to Las
Well, that sounds
Vegas,
fun.
and then we'll just fly back.
Uh-huh. Yeah, great idea.
So, to wrap this to wrap this up, um, I normally do this at the beginning, but for the first time ever, I finally remember to do it at the end. Do you want to tell everyone where they can find you?
Yeah, yeah, I am thankful for the opportunity. We started the Old Guy REI YouTube channel, and I guess we're about 9 months in, and things are going well. And we're on Facebook and Instagram, and I'm messing around with TikTok a little bit too. But yeah, it's all Old Guy REI.
And don't forget about your accountability meeting every Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific. We usually have a decent group, right? Between 12 to 25 people, depending on who's available. And if the other guys aren't doing, podcasts at the same time, it's been a little tricky. There's quite a few people out there doing different things, but we've had a steady group since before last February. We started our accountability call, and people seem to be finding value. I always try to make sure and ask everybody, if they have issues or there's no stupid questions, no dumb questions. So hopefully people will still keep joining and getting some value out of that.
Yeah, you're definitely the OG in the group when it comes to the accountability meetings. I've always really enjoyed them.
Yeah, it's great when you can participate. I know you listen a lot while you're at work and can't can't um, add too much during that time. But like last week, it was nice that you could be in there with us during the whole time.
Yeah, it was great to actually be able to contribute. I I, I like listening while at work, but I miss being able to actually talk to people. That's why the one time Jerry was on and I sent him a message, but like because I had him queued up, I was literally just pounding him with text messages just to get my thoughts out there because it's harder for me to chat in the Zoom at work while running, all the machinery and stuff than it is just to shoot a quick
Hmm.
text message.
Oh, good. Yeah, technology is amazing. It's, made it pretty easy for us.
All right, well, I'm gonna have to wrap this up so I can go off to work again. I'll be
Okay. Well,
listening.
thanks again for inviting me.
Oh, it's great having you. Anytime you feel like coming on.
Okay. We'll do it again soon.